Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, Elisabeth Borne is named as France's new Prime Minister, making her the second woman to hold the position. Also, the Spanish cabinet approves a draft law that grants women the right to take paid sick leave due to severe period pain. And we meet Belgian photographer Charlotte Abramow, whose work openly challenges the way we view women's bodies. But we begin in France, where President Emmanuel Macron has appointed Elisabeth Borne as Prime Minister, the second woman to take the position. Edith Cresson briefly held the job during the presidency of socialist leader François Mitterrand in the early 1990s. However, Borne is joining a growing number of women who now lead European countries, as Camille Nedelec reports.
In this family photo from the European Union summit in Versailles in March, women were clearly the minority. While the European Commission leads by example with Ursula von der Leyen as president, only 5 EU leaders out of the 27 are women.
I never thought it was about my age or gender. I think it's about the reasons I engaged in politics, and that's why I was able to gain voters' confidence.
I was the first woman to be elected the Prime Minister of Sweden, and I know what this means for little girls today in our country.
Before them, Britain's Margaret Thatcher and Germany's Angela Merkel headed their countries for more than a decade. After France's first female Prime Minister, Edith Cresson, in 1991, Elisabeth Borne is now the second woman ever on the job.
Je ne peux pas m'empêcher d'avoir une pensée.
I'd like to remember the first woman to occupy this position as Prime Minister, Edith Cresson. And I'd like to dedicate my appointment to all the little girls, in telling them, live your dreams. Nothing must stop the fight for women's place in society.
Pour la place des femmes dans notre société.
Many people believe her appointment is one more step towards equality.
It's great it's going to be a woman. I hope she's up to the task.
I'm not convinced her being female changes much, but I think it's important women are represented in all sectors, including the government.
The 61-year-old engineer served various ministerial posts during Emmanuel Macron's first term, including the Labour Ministry. She has pushed reforms that curtailed rail workers' rights and unemployment benefits.
In other news, the Spanish cabinet has approved a draft law ending the requirement for 16 and 17-year-olds to obtain parental consent before getting an abortion. The bill is part of a series of reforms on reproductive health, which will include paid medical leave for women who suffer from severe period pain. While many have hailed the legislation as a step in the right direction, others say it could stigmatise women in the workplace. Yinka Oyateda reports.
It's being hailed as a trailblazing bill. Spain could become the first country in Europe to grant women paid medical leave if they suffer from severe period pain. Under the draft law, a woman would be entitled to unlimited time off work, provided she has the green light from a doctor.
No more going to work with pain. It's over. No more hiding pain that makes it harder for us to do our job. This is for all the women who need it.
It's the type of measure that women like Claire say should have been recommended sooner. The personal trainer's life ground to a halt 2 years ago when severe period pain caused by endometriosis, a menstrual condition, left her debilitated.
My periods were getting longer. I started fainting. I felt terrible. The law is good because it recognizes that the problem exists.
Spain could join a handful of countries who have menstrual leave laws. Japan was the first to make such a move in 1947. There, it's up to employers to determine how much time a woman can take off and whether the leave is paid. In South Korea, women are entitled to just 1 day of unpaid menstrual leave. In Indonesia and Taiwan, menstrual leave can last up to 3 days, paid. In Zambia, only 1 day of leave is paid. In countries where there is no legal provision, employers are leading the way, like in France, where several companies have their own menstrual leave policies. 68% of French people would like to see it instituted into law, but some feminist groups worry legislation would stigmatize women further, especially in the workplace.
We already have laws in Europe and in France against discrimination during the recruitment process, but it still exists. And menstrual leave could be another reason to discriminate and penalize women.
Critics also argue the spotlight should be placed on ramping up scientific research into finding more treatments to alleviate period pains.
And there is a new equal pay deal between the US men and women's soccer team. US Soccer Federation also announcing the teams will pool their World Cup prize money along with their share of TV and sponsorship revenues. For the first time ever, the women's team, which has won the last 2 Women's World Cups and 4 overall, will be paid at the same rate for game appearances and tournament victories as the men's team, whose success is far from the same. The women's team having filed a discrimination lawsuit in 2019 and a settlement which included a $24 million payout was reached earlier this year.
It's truly a historic moment for U.S. soccer, for soccer in general. So for the first time ever, U.S. soccer has brought both the Women's Players Association, the Men's Players Association together to negotiate. We're the first country to ever do that. And revenue sharing that will be the same for both teams.
And finally, here in Paris, a stunning set of photographs documenting women's relationship with bees, yes bees, is on display at a UNESCO-sponsored exhibition at Maison Guerlain. The photographer and director, Charlotte Abramow, originally from Belgium, has already created a buzz in her short career by seeking to challenge the way society views the female body. And I'm delighted to say she joins me in the studio today. Charlotte, thank you so much for coming in. First of all, tell me more about the exhibition Women for Bees.
Actually, Guerlain gave me carte blanche to take photographs of the female beekeepers during their formation in the south of France last summer. So I just go with my camera and discovered actually this world, because I didn't know at all about the bees and all the universe around. So it was really challenging and also interesting. Actually, in a second time, I thought about working with embroideries, artists on the prints, because I wanted to show the link between several things in this project. Actually, the fact that we are interdependent with the bees, because if there is no bees, there is no plants, and if there is no plants, there is no alimentation, and all the nature system is changed and in danger. And voila, it was a really great project, and I hope that people that came to the exhibition will came out with more information and maybe an idea of reconversion in beekeeping.
The theme of your photography is very much challenging the way we view the female body and the fact that society continuously sexualizes the female body.
I wanted to show another way, the fact that we can exist beyond this hypersexualization, almost, and also beyond male gaze, and that we are not objects actually, and we are not objects of desire, we are subjects, and that's I think the main thing in my work about women, that we are beautiful and important, independent and strong.
And our bodies are strong.
Of course, so strong.
Okay. At this point, Charlotte, I want to talk to you about some of the images you've created and the stories behind particular photographs. Let's start with this one. What was the story behind this young woman? What does that image represent to you?
Oh, actually, it was a project I called Metamorphosis, and that was a project I did at my photography school for my diploma. And I wanted to show the emerging puberty for young girls, the fact that our bodies are changing, but also our minds and also the people around us, the manner they see us. And I wanted to make a metaphor with plants. And I worked with Duan Nanduk, who is a plant artist, actually, who puts all the flowers on the belly of the young woman, the young girl, actually. And it was really a beautiful metaphor of growing up and changing and like blooming, actually.
Yes, flowering into womanhood.
Yes.
Let's bring up the next image because I'm fascinated by this one. What's the story behind this?
Oh, actually, it's an extract from a project called Les Enveloppes, and I called this picture Guimauve, which like marshmallow, actually. And I wanted to show female nudity, but in another way, with no sexualization, and more like a landscape or like something that we want to care of, and all the imperfection we have and we are all the complex are like I don't know how to say it, but not so strong, because actually the body is natural, and I love to see it like in a more caring way. And this was an image that was important to me because it makes me think about a cloud or about a marshmallow.
Well, something. It almost looks like a landscape.
Yeah, and very like to have a body and to have a poetic relationship with our bodies, actually.
Charlotte, thank you so much. We're going to have to leave it there.
Thank you.
And that's all for now. You can keep up with the 51% on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. Plus, you can catch our previous programs on the France 24 website. So until our next show, bye for now.